Good morning, friends. Happy Wednesday, October 16th. Super grateful to be here with you today and to celebrate October. I hope your October is going well. The weather is about to turn here in Utah. We have high of 46 on Friday with a 65% chance of rain and snow. So definitely feeling the turn of season. Still sending lots and lots of love and prayers and donations too to our friends in Florida and North Carolina. Many of you have seen Rachel Carter in her posts. She's heading a lot of that up. Also Heather Anderson. So if you're feeling called to help there, that's a great place to send support resources. Okay, I saw in the comments. Thanks for the connection with David Aid. So what she's referring to is Walter Watts and I are going to be starting a men's call once a month. And this is a call for men only. And it's going to be a lot of fun. This is meant to create support, to create accountability, and just mentoring in general. Yes, Mara, I hope Adam can join us. So let me just share some details on that. So if you'll go to sharesuccess.com/men, you will see the details for this call. So I'm trying to save you all from having to retype that horrendous Zoom link. But this will be the first Monday of each month, and we'll do it at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. So put that on, if you're a man, put on your calendar. If you're a woman, share it with your significant other. And we would love to have you join us. So let me post that link here in the chat. Okay, sharesuccess.com/men. So so Walter Watts, for those of you who don't know, Walter and Melody, I think they've hit double diamond and Founders 2.0. And they are some of the most incredible creators. We've been hanging out with them on presidential trips for years. We've actually collaborated on Experience doTERRA some as well. So they used to come to our event, and then they loved it so much they started hosting their own Experience doTERRAs up in Idaho. So it was closer to home. And they're just high quality people. Walter comes from his experience in health coaching. He's been doing emotion code and lots of other modalities for decades, even before doTERRA. And Melody is so passionate and such a strong voice for health, wellness, holistic living, reducing toxicity. And they're just a power couple. And so we've been approached so many times about, hey, where is there a space for men? You know, I've got a husband. He doesn't love hanging out with all the girlies in the meetings and on the calls. So give us a space for men. And so this is our attempt to answer that call. So we would love to have all men join us. We also have a Facebook group. I'll add that link to the page as well. But this is where we can have an active dialogue throughout the week and month when we're not on the call. So Karen, I don't know if you have a question about that. I'll just go ahead and promote you to panelist if you do have a question. Okay. So maybe Karen's just saying thumbs up for the men's call. That's great. Go ahead and post a question in the chat if you do have a question for us, Karen. All right. And then by way of other announcements, we have the Up Level 21 challenge always running. So I think registration is open for the November challenge. So this is just a great way to recommit to your health goals and to create higher accountability for yourself. Come together with like-minded people who all want to, improve their game, move their bodies, drink more liquids, take their supplements. And as a community, we do better together. So that's what Uplevel 21 is. It's a community of people trying to do better. So that's at uplevel21.com. Go ahead and check that out if that speaks to you. So we'll post that. And we've also been approached by a lot of people about how do we catch the recording of the leader-led training that we did before convention. And you can still access that at sharesuccess.com/convention. So you pay, I think it's $10, and then you've got access, and it's a professional recording. It's really well done. Normally we just sit in the back with an iPhone, but this time we hired a crew and they had multiple cameras, and it's really high quality. So if you're OCD like me, that matters. Those details add up to a difference. So sharesuccess.com/convention. And you can just click on the leader-led business training. All right. Well, we've had some great feedback from all of the new products, and doTERRA has opened up sales to the individual products for the first time ever, beginning October 1st. And they've had huge response, just a massive deluge of orders, people super excited to try the VMG Plus or to stay on it. Yeah, it's really fun to watch good things spread. So yeah, hopefully you're taking advantage of that. Hopefully your teams are taking advantage of that. We are super blessed by all the goodness that just keeps rolling out. So yeah, Christina is celebrating that's how they rolled them out this year. It's such a gift, isn't it? All right, well, I'd love to serve you. Mara's asking, any idea of EU release? I'm sure they'll have it by May. Well, gosh, Europe is so tricky because it's not one country. It's, 30 plus completely different laws, different regulations, different regulatory bodies. So I probably can't commit, but I believe that Europe can order through, what's it called? FTC? No, through NFR, can't they? So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think countries like no, not yet. Huh. I thought they could do Australia can. Okay. Well, we might have to get creative on that, huh? Keep our European friends healthy and strong. Good question though. If anybody else has questions or just blocks you want to talk through where you're at in your business, your partnerships, your goals, go ahead and raise your hand so we can bring you on live. Love to have rich conversations, and it can be a simple thing, doesn't have to be big or complex, but go ahead and raise your hand so we can bring you on live. I don't want to make you jealous, Mara, but I just heard that India, actually, they got on top of it before all the other markets and started the registration process. And I think they're going to beat all the other markets with VMG Plus. So maybe we should all start building in India. Okay, Catherine's asking where the link is to the leader-led business training. So you go to sharesuccess.com/convention. I still have it. Yep. So this is the link you click on. And then once you're there, you just come over to each of these is clickable, right? And so you just click on leader-led business training, and then that'll open Ticket Tailor. And what you do is you buy the recording. I'm sorry, it was 19, not 10. It's worth it. It was awesome. So that's how you get there. Mara says she's moving to India. Oh, you're funny. Mara and Adam just got done building a beautiful home, and they've already moved their family from Australia to Austria and then from Austria to Central America. And they are true pioneers, but not all with kids in tow. So super fun to watch you guys and your adventures. Okay. So yeah, go ahead and raise your hand in Zoom. And how did you get to the point in running these calls? Oh, like how did this call evolve? I assume that's your question. So as Natalie and I started growing our business, we started getting lots of people reach out and say, hey, could you help me with this or help me with that? I have so many questions. And in our early days, we were people pleasers, and we're still recovering. And we would say yes to all of them. And we were on the phone from sunup until beyond sundown, well beyond sundown. And it was wrecking our family. And so we said, this has got to change. And so somebody suggested, why don't you just do a weekly Q&A call? And so people have questions, just, they got 1 hour, bring your questions and we'll answer those questions there. So in the early days, it was on freeconferencecall.com. So there's a toll-free number people could call into. And that was nice because, Tiffany and I could roll out of bed and we didn't have to put clothes on, we didn't have to shower. But then as Zoom became the tool, I said, Tiff, a lot of people, I think they want to see our faces. So Tiffany was gracious enough to say yes. And I think we've been on Zoom for, I want to say 6 or 7 years now. Anyways, we're 11 years in now of doing this call. And that's the short history. Not that exciting, really just trying to meet the needs of our growing teams. Okay. Azusa says, could you share your time blocking daily activities for people doing 2 jobs? I love this question. Okay. So, how many of you have been through the business building guide? I hope all of you. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up, you know what? I'm just going to pull it up in Safari in case there's anyone out there who doesn't know where to find it. So come with me to Safari. I always just Google doTERRA empowered success, and then it's always the first link. And then I come down and it's the first, well, it's one of the first big purple buttons, business building guide. And then you just download it. It's totally free. You don't even have to put in your email address. And then here we are with the BBG, as we call it. So one of my favorite pages in the BBG is page 19, schedule your success. So let's jump down to page 19 and see what it has to say. So I hear you when you say, I've got limited time because I'm working 2 jobs. So I've really got to make my time count. So this is where I highly recommend you take some time on pages 19 and 20 because, all of us want to be efficient, right? Nobody wants to waste time. So hopefully you're familiar with PIPES. PIPES is the activities that we do in doTERRA: prepare, invite, present, enroll, support. And prepare is all about you, right? This is your personal development. This is studying the product, taking the product, doing your, keeping your body fit, whatever it takes to keep your tool, your mind, your body as honed as possible to be efficient with your business activities. And so the 3 in purple here, IPE, we call these the rainmaking activities. This is what generates income. So inviting to events, inviting to learn more, inviting to try, inviting to up-level, all the forms of inviting. Presenting, right? This is presenting information about product, about business, about events. It's doing events, and then enrolling is getting people enrolled. And I like to say there are 2 enrollments in doTERRA. There's enrollment, creating an account, and then there's enrollment in LRP. And neither is more important than the other. They're of equal importance. In fact, I might say that enrolling into the lifestyle of LRP is maybe more important. So always be enrolling, right? ABC, always be. Closing is the acronym people use. So this is how you should spend your time in the early days of building. 70% on IPE, maybe 20% on support. Maybe you don't have a team yet, and so you can spend more time on IPE and then 10% on your preparing. So those are the overall principles. And then here's where we get to time blocking. So let's say you have you only have 3 to 10 hours a week. And so the things in, actually, don't ignore the color correlation. There is no correlation. So you want to make sure that you're focusing on the IPE activities in those few hours if that's all you have. If you're ready to supplement your income, then you can take more time with supporting your team. And that's probably what I would suggest as a secondary time blocking. But basically, you want to just make sure you're inviting people to build. Finding business partners is, I think, the most undersold activity in doTERRA. So you want to make sure you're looking for partners, you're inviting partners, you're inspiring new partners. That's what will make all the difference in creating momentum in your business. So that's what this one is, Intro to Build. And then maybe you've got some follow-ups with people. Maybe you're doing some wellness consults, and then maybe you're doing some intro classes. Maybe you're doing a strategy session with some of your partners, maybe a one-on-one here or there, some continuing ed. This is just a sample schedule if you're taking 16 to 20 hours a week at this mid-level pace. So I love your question. I love your awareness that even though you want to build a pipeline, you're not able to commit full-time to it. And so you're going to keep hauling buckets with your job as you build your pipeline on the side. So leverage this resource and use whatever calendaring system works for you. I still have a mixed relationship with calendars, but do whatever it takes to be wise with your time. If you treat this like a business, it will treat you like a business. So it's a great resource there. And if you go to training.doterra.com, there's a whole video training series on the business building guide. And in fact, let's go ahead and show that. So if you go to training.doterra.com, so many great resources here, right? There's the foundational wellness course, Launch Your doTERRA Business. Here is the business building certification. So we've got top leaders, all speaking on different topics and taking you just step by step through the BBG. So take full advantage of that. That's a great resource. Some of you may have noticed this one, which is a new resource. Where to go? There it is. Launch Your doTERRA Business. So this is kind of a shortened version of that, and less, it's way less time. So I would definitely take a look at. Oh, good. Here's a course outline. Great. So good. So yeah, I'll bet that's 2 hours of video content in total, whereas the BBG might be more like 10 hours. So a couple of great resources there. Be sure to take advantage of those. Okay, Shelly has her hand up, or maybe that's a high five. So Shelly, if you want to come on and ask a question, go ahead and come on as a panelist. Otherwise, we'll just consider myself high-fived. Okay, so yeah, Azusa says, I have 2 enrollments. So yeah, you're going to want to support those 2 team members, make sure they're understanding LRP. They have a lifestyle overview. But then most of your focus is going to be on inviting and presenting, right? And then enrolling, of course. Okay, Mara says, can you share your process when you bring on a new builder who's ready to go? Do you travel to them? Do you support them on the ground? Great question. And I would say it totally depends. We've had the whole gamut of experiences. I would say partnering with them in person is always going to be more effective. We have seen, it's just night and day difference, right? Trying to do things remotely. That's why we have Diamond Club, is to get people in person with their new builders, new teams, get things rolling. So, but the process for us is we go through the build guide with them, and we establish what are your goals, what are your dreams, what are your biggest pain points, where are your unmet needs, and how can we serve to those needs? How can doTERRA meet those needs? And then we have we give them a business building guide, and we invite them to start the business building guide course certification that I just showed you. And then we set up weekly mentoring. We'll usually teach their first couple of classes for them. And by the second class, they're teaching more of that class. So we're trying to pass the baton, get them trained. And we also make sure they're starting their name. I mean, we just go through the business building guide, right? So we make sure they're doing their names list. We make sure they're prioritizing the names list, which is really, really crucial. People who just launch into finding customers, we find struggle a lot longer. But if they focus on finding business builders first, things go so much better. And then, it's just, we do weekly mentoring. Sometimes we do just short-term incentives if that supports their team. One of those is doubling fast starts. So basically anybody earning 20% fast starts for a month or two on their team, we match that. So let's say they earned $100 fast starts, we match that. So now that they're earning 200 fast starts. So that's a pretty sweet deal when it comes to just creating momentum, creating urgency on their team. We also offer incentives with new builders, like help them get an Essential Life app or the Essential Motions book. That makes a huge difference for them and their team, making sure people turn this into a lifestyle and not just a one-off purchase. So that's a high-level overview of our launch process. Esther says, last night I was looking through the Empowered Success site and was amazed at all the tools available to us. A to the men, sister. That is a treasure trove. Everything there is in Empowered Success. Can I just show you one little section that I don't know if most people even know about? So let me share my screen again. So if you're back on that homepage, the Empowered Success homepage, you come down to this hidden little link that's called Tools Library. You click on that and look at all these tools. Most of these are worksheets. Most of these are interactive and such incredible tools. No matter where you are, what rank you're building towards, there's something here for you. Obviously there's the rank guides, but then there's also the rank planners. Natalie and I use these vision boards constantly. Whenever we do mentoring, we hand people one of these and say, first fill this out, and then let's talk about each of your partners and make a strategy. So just so many great tools here. The ones we recommend probably the most often our strategy check-in. So this is a great way to keep your weekly mentoring on track because people have to be accountable to how many intros they did, how many presentations, how many enrollments, how many support activities they did. And it's just a great way to help reinforce what matters in the business and hold their feet to the fire. So that's a great one. We also use, one thing mentoring. So this is maybe for if you're coaching someone deeper in your team, maybe not someone that you have an enroller of, but maybe you're coaching, I don't know, someone on your 4th or 8th level, and you just want to help them advance. They're going to fill out this form and assign a number to what their belief level is. So what's their belief level in the product, belief level in the company and the opportunity, and then we just take them through this activity, and it's really, really powerful. So you are spot on. Empowered Success is a gold mine. So I hope you're taking full advantage of that. So Jean asks, where is that? That is, so the tools library is on the Empowered Success page. So here's the Empowered Success page, and then here is the tools library inside of Empowered Success. Super great resources, right? Yeah, the fact that doTERRA offers all of this at no cost is almost ridiculous. So super, super awesome. All right, raise your hand if you've got a question, if you've got something you want to talk through. Any and all questions are welcome. I hear you on there being too much information nowadays. Peggy asks, when is Up Level 21? So that is a challenge that runs every month, and it starts on the first day of the month and runs 21 days. That's why it's called Up Level 21. So that's a monthly deal that you can become a part of, and it's great. Yeah, first of the month. Now you do want to get registered before the first of the month, because by midnight on the 1st, they cut it off. Oh, Chelsea says yes, and they are enrolling for November already. So, and you also need products to really be able to check the boxes. And so you really want to get registered like 10 days before, so you can have the products in hand to maximize your experience there. So Chelsea, I don't know if you want to come on and speak to Up Level 21. If you're busy, no worries. I just know that it's been a game changer for so many people. So yeah, seeing lots of good comments here.
I'll hop on real quick. I just have a couple minutes, but yeah, open enrollment is going on right now. It opened yesterday for next month, and we're using the new convention products this month now that everybody has access to them. So it'll be the VMG, the Omegas, and PB Restore are the 3 products, which is a smoking deal for $149, 125 PV. It was like it was created specifically for Up Level 21. We're so excited. And if you've been in the challenge before, it's going to be completely new. So all of the lessons are new and the habits will stay the same, but we have new lessons, new product, and we're taking it 3 levels deep now. So it's actually a 90-day program. You're going to come in phase 1, and then in phase 2 and 3, we're going to go deeper into the habits. And so that way, when you invite your friend to come for month 2, they'll receive phase 1, but you can still work right alongside them and stay engaged as you continue to solidify your habits.
I love it. So powerful. And Chelsea has been such a crucial piece of bringing this together, managing the training, managing the whole experience for the community every single time. So thank you so much for everything you do for that, Chelsea.
Well, and thank you to you and Natalie for allowing it to continue. It has been such a fun ride, and we're excited about making it bigger and better.
Do you have just a minute to speak to the MetaPower Challenge? If not, I can.
Yeah, if you'll speak to that one.
No
I'm
worries.
not as heavily involved with that one now.
Okay. No worries. I've got that one covered.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. So grateful for you and all of your contributions. Okay, so the MetaPower Challenge that I mentioned, as Chelsea was bringing together Up Level 21, there were a lot of people who went through it once and they were like, okay, but I want to up level again. I want to really tackle maybe some big health goals. Maybe it's weight management. Maybe it's just overall metabolic health. So a group, including Chelsea, came together and put together MetaPower 45. And so the website is metapwr45.com. And it's a 6-week challenge, so it's a lot longer. And there's more action required. Because we believe in habit stacking, we build even more and deeper habits. So there are more products involved. The challenge itself does cost a little bit more, but we have seen incredible results. In fact, you can see some of the people here and the results that they're getting. It's so fun. They did a little presentation at the leader-led event and showed a lot of the before and afters, and it was just so cool to watch what's happening there. So MetaPower 45 is where you want to go for that particular challenge. Oh, is there a new one? Okay, Chelsea, I'm seeing a new link and a new website. Did they ditch the old web address? I guess so. Okay. So
yes, it has been updated. So MetaPower 45 transformation is the correct one now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for the update. I was given bad information there. All right. So yeah, definitely jump in. I believe that one is monthly. No, that's a 6-week. So I don't know how often that one starts. So I'm sure it's on here somewhere. Okay. So many great ways to be transformed and to join the movement. So fun. Okay, so, oh, sorry, it looks like that link only went to host and panelists. So there's the link to the new MetaPower challenge. So, and by the way, if you're a builder, if you're doing doTERRA as a business, can I just tell you that these challenges are a pivotal way to lead a massive revolution. We've watched other companies as they've implemented these exact kinds of challenges. People have gone from zero to just massive organizations and sustainable organizations in very short periods of time. So as a builder, I'd be looking at this and saying, this is amazing what's been created here. I hope you're seeing what I'm seeing in the potential, because like companies with not great products, I mean, if you were to read the ingredient deck on a lot of these other companies and what they're promoting, we are just spoiled rotten here. We've got it literally handed to us on a silver platter, and now you've got a tool for leading challenges, for running this group movement. And so take advantage of those. Don't let those pass you by. All right, what are the questions you have? Go ahead and raise your hand if you're on Zoom, or put them in the chat if you're on Facebook. All right, Sophia, let's bring you on live. Hi,
Hi,
Sophia, how are you?
good, and you?
Good, thank you.
How's everything?
It's great. Thanks for coming on.
It's good, good. Good to be in this call. Andy, I have a question. As you said in the business guide, of course, like the pipes is the most important thing, and also inviting new builders. For me, it's been a struggle to actually find builders, and builders that are committed, because there's many people that want to build, but then it's like, okay, let's do it, and you're ready to help them, but they're not ready to do anything. So it's like, what is the approach there?
So your question is how to find builders? How do you find
Yes.
committed, real committed builders?
Yes.
Okay. So here's where I love that section of the business building guide, because after you've done your names list, you then prioritize the names list. And I just closed that tab, dang it. Let me go back. Because this is a crucial part of anybody's business. So here we go. So we're going to skip down to the, after you do your names list, right? So your goal is to get 100 names out on pages 15 and 16. Page 17, we now want to prioritize our names list. So here are the questions that I like to ask myself as you're looking for potential builders, potential partners. If I could work with anyone, who would it be? And this is where sometimes specific names will come to mind, or faces. But sometimes this is more like, what do they like? We talk about demographics or psychographics. What are these kinds of people like that I want to work with? How would they show up as a partner? How would they invest into this team? And get really specific. And then, who would I work best with? So this is a good time to think about your strengths. Where do you shine? And so maybe who would be someone that could complement your strengths? What strengths could you be looking for in a potential business partner? Then who would bring that kind of commitment and action that matches or exceeds the pace I have set to reach my goals? So this is where, as you go through your names list, it's so useful to really dig deep into the unmet needs of your people on your names list. And so that's why we have health need, time need, purpose need. That's the very first thing on each of these columns, because the people who will stay the most committed are the ones who are trying to meet the greatest need. Let me say that again, because that's really important. The people who will stay in the longest and be the most committed are those who are looking to meet the greatest need. So if people are maybe saying they're going to build, and they're just, maybe they host one class, maybe they share with one person, they're just it's a hobby for them. And there's not a deep desire or a deep need that they're trying to meet by doing the business. When we enrolled most of our front line, they had huge need. I still remember the babies and how they were struggling financially. I mean, Roxanne was working a night job. Her husband was working a really low paying job. And they were working their brains out, not going anywhere. They had 3 young kids, and doTERRA was an absolute must for them. They had to succeed. Same thing with the Garretts. Kelly had huge need for her purpose. That's where her need was purpose. Laura Jacobs, her biggest need was time freedom. She was a slave to her health coaching business. And so taking the time to really get to know your prospects and ask a lot of hard questions, like, where are you at with your life right now? Like where are you finding purpose, and where's your greatest pain right now? And what happens if nothing changes over the next 2 years, next 5 years? And so we have solutions. We have a vehicle that provides financially, it provides purpose, it provides for people's health. And so until you can build the bridge for people who have deep needs, you'll probably continue to have uncommitted builders. So tell me how that's landing for you.
No, it makes a lot of sense. It's great. But in the same context, for example, I have like clients and stuff that I know that they're struggling with their job, like they don't like it and they don't have time. Like, there's a lot of things, but they still say, I love where I work, Mm-hmm. So how do you move them from, because they're getting to know the product, like they just got their new kid or stuff, they're using it with their kids, they're realizing that they can do a lot more than what they think. But then how do you do the next step? Like, I'm always like stuck in like a client that is in love, and then, okay, but how do I I don't know, like it's a sometimes I don't want to like go straight ahead to the business, because it's like, but of course I need builders at the same time. So it's kind of like,
sure. Yeah. Well, what they say about artists, artists make their very best art when their life is at the lowest point. Like struggle is what creates the best art. And I would say the same is true in business, that the greatest successes come from the lowest lows. So honestly, people who absolutely love their job are probably not your best prospects. I mean, you can try to make their experience building doTERRA even better than their great job. But to me, that's so much harder than finding people who are like, have a really big need. Because doTERRA ticks so many boxes, it ticks emotional, social, mental, like it's just this, it's a whole package. And so I would say, stop hanging out with happy people. I mean, I'm being facetious there, but
yeah.
But honestly, that's where we found the most success. When we went to Thailand, we were meeting with builders from other companies, and those companies had huge losses. One of them, their CFO had embezzled millions of dollars, and so the whole company's assets were frozen, and they couldn't do any shipments for 6 months. I mean, imagine having a team that couldn't get any orders for 6 months. Like, what would that do? It would just wreak havoc on our teams, right? And so, and then they changed their comp plan 3 times. And anyways, it was tragic to hear the stories of people in other businesses. You know, I think about people in Beachbody, people in Rodan and Fields. You know, both of them just cut off their whole network marketing branch and switched to affiliate marketing. And my heart just bleeds for those people. But those are the people who have great need right now. And so, you know, we don't want to be the kind of vultures that just goes in and only creates relationships because their company just cut them off. But we do want to be there to serve. You know, I mean, the fact is they have massive needs. They have families to support. And how are they going to do that? So, yeah,
Right.
we have the Allstroms making a great comment here. So definitely read that comment. And then Mara's asking, how did we find them? So it was networking, just straight up networking. So when we knew we were going to Thailand, we started connecting with everybody we knew who had connections there. And one gal, she had actually worked at this other company that had that experience, you know, the CFO that embezzled. And so she knew a lot of the builders in the field. And so she connected us with those people, and we were off to the races. So great question.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll be cheering for you, Sophia. I love that conversation. Yeah, how many of you had that experience of having uncommitted builders, having people who say they're going to build and then they don't? I think it's maybe the most universal experience in building a team. And so I get it. It's hard. And I think I'll just go ahead and read the Allstrom's comment here. You can also be light in the way that you invite people to the business. You know, have you considered owning your own business? You're so talented. doTERRA will take your abilities even higher. So those are great conversation points and great starters, right, to get your foot in the door. I loved the stats that were shared at convention. I think it was Kirk Jowers who shared some stats about how I think 86% of people nowadays would be willing to do a side hustle if they knew they could earn $500 a month. So, all right, Tabby is asking, how do we find specific protocols and master the use of the products to lead and teach others? Okay, great question. So protocols, I love, gosh, there used to be this great website, everythingessential.me. How many of you were around back when that was the big deal? Anyways, so here's the long and short of it. It's a struggle nowadays with FDA to have training that is compliant. The FDA, FTC are both such, they're on the hunt for people who are making claims and sharing these kind of protocols that actually work. So many of you know that there used to be that everythingessential.me website. It's gone now. And many of you are familiar with the Essential Life book and community. And so Natalie and I actually took everythingessential.me and the Essential Life book and emotions book and business building guide, and we put it all into a database. And right now, for a short time, you can text any question you have to this phone number, and it will send you back a response based on that database. So it's a really, really great tool. You will be asked at some point to give some feedback. We want to make it even better than it is. And so it's still being trained. But please use this resource. It's a really, really great resource. So protocols, yeah, there's some really great protocols in that database, because we scraped everything from everythingessential.me and the Essential Life book. So good stuff. Okay, another question. Karina says, what are the things you should be checking in your back office daily? Honestly, I can't think of anything that needs to be checked daily. We probably only log into our back office 3 or 4 times a month. Obviously, if you've enrolled someone and you're within that time period to place them, that's something you want to be on top of. But I just put a reminder in my phone, like give myself at least 2 days to figure out where to place them. But in terms of checking daily, I mean, there's actually, I think there might be a page in the BBG that talks about like when you want to check your rank, when you want to check your power of 3. Maybe it's in the compensation plan section. But yeah, any other comments on that one? Yeah, honestly, I think the temptation is to spend more time than you actually need in the back office. And so Tabby is saying, I lose customers. She's tried using the books, but the customers need to know exactly how much and how often to use it. Try using this text tool and asking how much and how often, and let's see if we can work together to train it to make it even better. Because I know the data is there. You might just have to ask more specific questions. Okay. All right. Any last questions? Raise your hand. All right. Well, it's been a gift to be with you. Thank you so much for jumping on, and especially thank you to those who raised their hand. It's a privilege to be a part of this community. You are brilliant. You are valiant, and you are courageous for doing what you do, for being willing to try and make a difference in this crazy world where it's hard and it's not popular, and we get to do hard things to move that rock. So thank you so much, and have a great week. We'll see you next week.